let's go down for our halftime show interview with John Leone.
Thank you so much, Matt. And, everyone here in the stadium, I'm sure, continues to look forward to the big weekend in New York City when Lafayette and Lehigh will play game number 150th. But there is so much more to that weekend, and we want to remind you folks that for a full listing and to register for any of the events, please go to lafayette.edu/celebrate, and there will be a host of activities, not the least of which will be a panel on financial markets. And my guest here at the Lafayette Sports Network and the Farmers Market halftime show is Associate Professor of Economics, Michael Kelly. And Michael, you will be in New York City. You'll be with Michael Heaney, who is a managing director at Morgan Stanley, and you'll be having a panel. And tell us, it's got to be pretty exciting for a guy like you, especially with your background.
Well, it is exciting. Michael Heaney is the co-head of fixed income at Morgan Stanley, and we'll also have Morgan Miller, who's a marquee scholar here, who's interested in a career in investment banking. I think it'll be a great panel.
What are some of the issues and some of the topics that you'll talk about in the panel that kind of hit home for a lot of folks?
Well, for me, one of the important issues to discuss in finance is risk management. We all saw what happened a few years ago, and a lot of firms put a lot of effort into beefing up their risk management and their capabilities. And so for my personal interest, I'm interested in the incentives it creates, the infrastructure required for it, including people, as well as the signal it sends to the outside world.
I think it's fascinating, Michael. You and I were talking a little bit before about the interaction between faculty and students and how this plays right into it. Morgan Miller, of course, will be joining you, and you speak so highly. I can see your eyes light up when you talk about the students. Tell us a little bit about your experience, how you work with these students, and how you like to practically apply what you give them in the classroom to the real world.
Well, there's a lot of, just step back for a second. Lafayette College is a liberal arts college that offers students a great opportunity apply the knowledge that they learn to fields like engineering and finance. And so that combination is something that has to occur both inside and outside the classroom. We have obviously classes on finance, but we also have an investment club that has a portfolio that is managed by the students. It's actually the oldest still existing investment club in the United States.
If there are any alumni out there listening, some of you, that's the same investment club that maybe some of you were part of when you were here, because it is the same investment club, and it just kind of the torch keeps getting from one generation to the next. But the constant is the faculty. And Michael, I say that with the greatest of admiration. My own daughter went through here, and I can't tell you enough about how valuable an invested faculty is. Now, you do get back to New York City every now and then, and tell us about your relationships there. I know you know Michael Heaney, and not only do you go back for our current students, but you go back for some former students.
Yes. So next week, or on October 21st, we'll have Finance Night, where students get to go to New York City and meet alumni who are actually working in the finance industry in a very, what I call a very safe environment. It could be very daunting, and this is really designed to be an opportunity for people who don't know as much about finance to be able to talk to people who are in finance. However, beyond that, I tend to go to New York City about 3 to 4 times a year to meet with former students. I call it the round table. We pick a topic, we work on it, we get together and talk about it, and the idea of it is it truly is a round table. I'm not the teacher anymore. We're all students at that point.
Fascinating stuff, Michael. And again, as we approach the weekend, there'll be a number of things going on. Different faculty folks doing what their expertise is. Michael, tell us a little bit about your own background. You and I spoke. Cornell undergrad, Harvard Graduate School. What attracted you to Lafayette? Because you actually worked on Wall Street yourself.
Yeah, it's a Harvard undergrad, Cornell grad, but
I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. It's
I couldn't get into either one, so.
I root for Lafayette when Harvard comes to play here. That's I do that. I worked at J.P. Morgan in both their investment management and their equity derivatives business, and I started my own hedge fund in the 1990s. And for me, that was an application for me of the things I learned when I was an undergrad and a graduate student. So now that I'm here, I try to bring that experience to the students and to allow them to think through some of the issues that they face.
I think it's fascinating that you go from that kind of world, the fast pace, and I always picture, Michael, what's his name, Charlie Sheen and Gordon Gekko, that kind of fast-paced world. But the transition from that world to the Lafayette College campus, what attracted you to the college?
it's look. I have to say, it's the students. The ability to teach students this bright in an environment where you can be in small classes, you can form personal relationships with them that can last well beyond the time that they're here. It's just the type of thing that brings me here.
Off the subject of number 150, Michael, I'm fascinated this week by the fluctuation in the market. What's going on? 350-point swings daily is a common occurrence.
Well, believe it or not, volatility this high is not unusual. We've had fairly low volatility lately. This is a bit high, probably somewhere in the 20s, but the volatility's been low and we've got used to it. Now that the Fed is changing their policy, we're going to see a little volatility.
Well, Michael, I'm going to keep my eye on you in my real life and my real job, day job. I am a major gift officer, and as a hedge fund manager, I could become knocking on your door soon. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure, especially to talk to the Lafayette faculty. What they do for our campus, what they do for our kids is outstanding, and what they're going to be doing in New York City on November 20th to 22nd is fascinating. I hope you all can be there. Matt, fellas, back to you guys.